We're back with another episode of Natal Shackled here at MJ BizCon 2024. There's people wandering the halls everywhere. It is the showcase, the place to come to explore everything cannabis, packaging, labeling, manufacturing, brands, everything that's going on investing in the cannabis industry. And I'm pleased to be joined by some of the experts in manufacturing, equipment, and just knowledge about everything that is cannabis. So I want them to introduce themselves first, one by one. Then I have a series of questions for them. So go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Natal Paransky. I'm the founder and CEO of Sorting Robotics. We build robots for cannabis manufacturers, mostly focusing on the infused pre-roll automation. And yeah, that's us. We've been around for a few years, and if you want to make infused hash hull or keep coated joints and you don't want to spend a ton of labor doing it, we should talk.
So you're the reason why the Terminator will not be an evil man. Because cannabis, robotics are gonna.
I got it.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Martin. Martin Anker. I'm founder and CEO of Sunlight. We are a pretty big number in the European LED grow light market. That means we are a market leading company there. And now swapping over to US. And yes, let's see what's going on here.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, my name is Cliff Haney. I'm the commercial solutions architect at L Temp Industries, where we focus traditionally on solventless extraction, so hash making equipment, rosin presses, but we've recently ventured into concentrate dispensing, where you load up bulk concentrates and we gram it out for people. We're based out of Denver, Colorado. We've been doing this for about 8 years now. We've set up some of the smallest, most boutique labs, as well as some of the biggest MSOs in the world.
So that's great. You guys all kind of do uniquely, distinctly in your areas. Sorting Robotics, what kind of products do you produce, and why are your products better than your competitors?
So our two main products, one of them is called the Gico robot that injects concentrate down to the center of a joint. And our second product is called Stardust that keef coats the outside of a joint. So Jeters is a very popular brand. They have these little half grams coated in keef, but at the moment, all of those half grams are actually coated in keef by hand. People painting
that
the
used
outside.
to be done by hand, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's still mostly done by hand. We're the only company right now that has working machines out in the market. So I'd say those are our two flagship machines. What makes them different? The Gico was a device that we invented back in 2020 and commercialized in 21. And now we have some copycats, but I would say most of those copycats do about 60%, maybe 70% of what we do. And so we still have a very large lead in terms of functionality, reliability. I mean, every day our machines are infusing 250,000 joints a day.
A quarter nationwide, worldwide.
Yeah, like globally, because all of them are all like IoT systems. So we kind of like at the end of every day, it's just like, boom, 200,000 joints today, 300,000 joints today. And that's the reliability that we bring. So we've been doing this for about 5 years in the cannabis space, 2 years outside of the cannabis space, building other automation. I personally started a co-packing company in Oakland back in 2020, ran that for 3 years. And so our edge is that myself, my head of sales, my chief of staff, we ran co-packing companies, or another sales guy, he ran a grow for many years. So we use that knowledge of the cannabis space to actually make the machines so much more effective for operators to use. And I think it becomes very obvious when you use our machine compared to like a knockoff version.
Excellent. I'm just thinking to myself, this stuff all used to be done by hand. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty wild when you see like one machine do the work of a whole room.
Excellent. Well, that explains a lot of stuff to me. And now moving on to lights. So except for the fact that you're European, which just kind of, suggests a better quality in general. I don't know why we just give the Europeans that much credit.
The EU rulings, probably.
Yeah. So what is it when you explain to people why your products are better, than the next?
Yes. There are several reasons. I would say for sure the simple reason is, yes, we have the best efficiency, we have the highest quality, but I would say everyone here inside is claiming the same. But on the other hand,
they're not European.
Yes, they are not European. They are not producing their lights by their own. So we are producing in Austria at our facility with 50 employees, roughly 300,000 lights a year. totally automated, so we are competitive with other companies as well. But what makes us special is that since the first day of Sunlight, so 13 years ago, we are running a laboratory. We are running a laboratory to advise our people or our customer how to increase yields, how to increase quality with our products. So we are not just producing and selling lights, we are selling somehow a business model. We are showing the people how to use our lights, how to make a facility running positive. Yes, and that's what you're buying at us. Not just a light, you're buying a lot of advice. You can have a look real time in our research, so you can read our blogs, for example, where we are doing research, for example, with UV. So 3 years ago, everyone was talking about UV in the LED industry, and we said, okay, yes, before we start producing UV light, we need the proof that it's worth to invest in UV light.
Right.
And so we did the research, and now, okay, we are not producing LED grow lights with UV because based on our research, we haven't seen any big benefit of it, and so we decided to don't do it. So I would say claim we are a pretty honest company based on data and not on claims.
I'm just thinking that if you see something that says produced by Austrian, this flower grown by Austrian lights, that it might be like, just a marketing. Well, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything. I think highly of your. But go ahead, your turn.
Totally. So yeah, I think what really separates Low Temp and makes us special is the fact that we take these complex processes and we simplify them. So if you look at our hash washing equipment, it's very simple. I could train someone in 10 minutes how to make good hash. Same with our rosin presses. They're very simple and modular, and you can scale them as you grow as a company. You can operate 5 presses simultaneously with 1 pump. We took both of those design approaches with our concentrate dispenser as well. You'll see a lot of products out there that they're using compressed air, they're using nitrogen. There are these complications that don't need to be there. We start with the hash makers and we find out what is it that they're looking for? How can we make their life easier? And so with the concentrate dispenser, that's why we chose to use a motor that drives a piston to extrude this product, because it's very simple. Just as with the hash making machine, you're only pressing 2 buttons to operate it. It's the exact same with the concentrate dispenser. You're setting your dose size, you're setting your dose adjustment. Those are the only 2 settings you're going to be changing throughout the duration.
It seems very obvious to me, and obvious to those people listening, that you probably want to work with somebody of high level of expertise before you get involved with any sort of manufacturing equipment, and have a human to talk to rather than doing the research yourself. But do you have any horror stories? Do you have like any stories where somebody has come back to you and said, you advised us this way, or they went on their own and did something the wrong direction, that came to you and said, hey, can you solve this problem for us? Anything that stands out in your mind?
I think along those lines, the first thing that comes to my mind is so I mentioned we have these like kind of knockoff machines, right? And so we had a customer that was talking to us for months, maybe like 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
And, for us, the sales cycle is somewhere between 3 to 6 months. So we're like, okay, these guys are getting ready. They're very interested. They're excited. And then they vanished on us.
Right.
Like, oh no, where did they go? Like, what did they do? We don't know what happened.
China.
Yeah, maybe. And then I think like 3 months later, they gave us a call and said, just send me the invoice. We're like, I'm sorry, what? What's going on with you? And apparently they went with one of the knockoff machines. And they're like, man, I just spent 50 grand and I spent 3 months of my life. And I was like working on this machine and I was trying to get it to work and I didn't want to buy it because our machines are a little bit more premium, right? We've been doing it for a while. And so we
right.
kind of get what you pay for sort of situation. And so they wanted to get the cheaper version, which, okay, like if that's going to work for them, then that's great. But they weren't really going to make that work for them. And they spent all this time and money. And so they probably spent like 100 grand just wasting their time away. And then they came back to us and then bought our machines. And now they're happy. Now they're like a demo facility for us.
Do you remember what was going wrong with their machines, or?
With the other competitor's machine? I don't really talk bad about anyone else's machine. I think it just wasn't working.
We don't mention their names.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Excellent. What about you? Any good stories about people like, they promised me the sun and I ended up getting a flicker or something? Any stories about horror stories that people come to you and say, thank you, I'm glad we went with you now. We had that problem with them.
Yes, at the moment a lot. So I think Germany legalized somehow cannabis, and now we are in the situation that we have cannabis social clubs legal in Germany.
Okay.
They are mid-scale productions. I wouldn't claim that they are very big, but they are big enough that they need to work professional. And as we are not just a lighting manufacturer, we see a production facility as a whole facility, and light is just one part of this facility. And we see it's important to help the customer with HVAC problems, for example, how to dehumidify, how to do everything around the light to be successful with the lights. So if you're a Sunlight customer, you're not buying just lights, you're buying all our knowledge, and you're buying it somehow for free. And the interesting thing is, so we had one club, for example, and we said, okay, we can help you with HVAC if you want for free. And he said, no, we have our own HVAC guy and he knows everything and blah, blah, blah. And a few months later, we delivered the lights and everything was fine. And then the electrician came to us for certain questions about how to connect the lights and blah, blah, blah. And it was fine. And then we asked, okay, how are you solving the HVAC and dehumidifying problem? And he said, yes, we are solving it like this and that, and we are just sucking in a lot of fresh air. And then we just ask, okay, but what will happen if the fresh air is having 80% and you will need 50%?
Right.
Okay. Can you please pop by? And then we pop by because it has been pretty close. And the only thing what we can mention, okay, you decided for the right light, that's fine. But every euro or every dollar investment you did in the HVAC system, it's not worth the money. You can throw it away as it is.
Right.
And now, just with, we offered it for free and they didn't want to hear it. If they would ask before, they would say for
No, you didn't quite answer my question, but you brought up an incredibly important point, which is incredibly awesome. I want you hand the mic back to Sorting Robotics for 1 second, because they do the exact same thing. They're known for this. You got to work with people that look at the whole project, that help you out and move beyond what you see, just what you're there for. And then we're going to get to your horror story. But you want to say something, because I know you guys have that reputation of coming in if there's something else going on. Just talk about how important that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think
exactly what you were saying.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And there always is corollary things, right? And so on the pre-roll side of things, a lot of people will come to us when they're not making pre-rolls at all. Let's say they're a rosin manufacturer, right? I know a few people that use the low temp equipment, and they've come to us and they say, okay, I make rosin. I want to make hash roll joints. What do I do? Well, you need paper. Like, okay, what type of paper do I use? Right. Like, okay, well, I can hook you with these two types of paper. What type of joints are you trying to make? They're like, oh, well, we want to make hash rolls. I'm like, okay, but are you trying to make like half-gram hash rolls? What's the price point you're trying to go to? And sometimes when they're moving into a new SKU, the unit economics of what that SKU is going to mean to them, they don't even know yet, which is okay, right? They're here to learn, which is kind of why they talk to us and they talk to me. And I mean, so one group, I actually gave them the spreadsheet that I used at my co-packing company to help them build their bill of materials and tell them what their cost of goods are going to be and help them that whole process. And I was on the phone with the owner, the head of production, and their CFO. And I was like, okay, so here's the spreadsheet. These are all the lines. They're like, oh my God, this is so useful. I'm like, you definitely need this if you're going to start this new SKU.
So let's get you focused on your horror story.
Totally.
But that, my friends, was what you call a perfect transition, because he mentioned something, you seconded it, and then you elevated it a notch by talking about how you bring in forecasting, like economic forecasting for products. And so you guys not just, that was awesome. The audience got that, but But thank you very much for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
Okay. So horror stories. That was good.
Totally, yeah. So I don't know about a horror story for me, but I guess the thing that comes to mind is,
Well, maybe somebody else's horror stories. Nobody has a horror story to you.
Exactly. Yeah, it was one of our customers. And so, we met them, I want to say it was in Detroit, maybe a few years ago. And at the time, they had just placed a deposit on one of our competitors' systems. And this competitor, they're really good at marketing and branding. And their price point was about twice of ours. So the people we were dealing with, they came from, the very corporate Wall Street background. So they kind of had this mindset that they weren't pinching pennies. They wanted to buy it right, not buy it twice. And so they went ahead and they purchased this system. They started using it. Then they saw our system. They went over to one of our other customers' labs in the same state to check it out. And they were like, this is a lot more simple of a process. Like, there's not as many moving components. It's easier to clean. It's on dollies. We can move it in and out of the room. So I think that was kind of the biggest one that I witnessed, where it was just like, they thought they were making the right decision by going with that higher tier price point and going with the premium brand. And at the time, we weren't really viewed as the premium brand because we weren't the most expensive. Our branding at the time, 3 or 4 years ago, it's not what it is today. If you take a look at our website, our marketing materials, it's just not in the same caliber. I guess they didn't take us as seriously at the time, even though we were the industry standard. They thought that, if I spend twice as much money, I'm going to get twice as good of a machine.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds for some closing thoughts. We'll start with there. But first of all, let me say, I think it's clear that you need to work with quality individuals when picking out your manufacturing equipment. And you need to make sure that they are individuals that, and I love how you brought that up and then you doubled down, that are looking at your whole project and your whole reality beyond just what they're there to do, which is absolutely fantastic. So I appreciate being able to introduce you guys to our audience out there. So just closing thoughts, how do people get a hold of you? Any other thoughts about picking your best manufacturing equipment?
So you can get a hold of Sorting Robotics by going to our website, sortingrobotics.com, or you can hit me up on LinkedIn. Natal Paransky, Nohtal. And I guess the closing thought I would like to say is, for anyone that's looking to automate their facility or buy equipment to help them build anything, you should think of the process of buying equipment or the process of buying automation as a process of dating. You are going to be married to this person and this company for the rest of your company's life, unless you switch for something else but you get divorced, right?
Yeah.
These capital equipment expenses are so expensive and they're so critical that if you go through the sales process and you're like, man, the sales guy kind of sucks, or like maybe this is kind of, maybe it'll get, no. That's like you're going on a date with someone and, they have a red flag of they like to kill kittens in their free time or something like that. No. Like, you should look at this like you're dating them, because they're going to be an integral part of your life for a very long time.
Those are great comments. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, generally I totally agree to him. And what's in my opinion important, take your time. It's not done in one day. Yes, you're married somehow for the rest of your life. And believe me, it's pretty hard to fix it if you did it wrong at the beginning. So if you have a running facility which is not working well, it's fucking expensive to fix it while running the facility. And the production costs with running a bad facility will kill you, and then you don't have the money to reinvest. So my biggest recommendation would really be take your time, evaluate what's available on the market, and see it as a whole system and have a clear target what you want to have. So maybe if you want just to produce edibles or extract it, maybe you don't need the perfect looking flower, and therefore you have other requirements for your facility, for example. So be clear what you want to have, what end product you want to have, and then take your time to decide for the right products.
So I would say probably some of my best advice would be to whatever company you're looking to purchase equipment from, go to their Instagram, look at who's tagged them in posts, who some of their other customers are, send them a direct message and ask them, hey, what do you think about this system that you purchased? What are some of the pros and cons? Another thing you can do is reach out to these companies or those other customers and ask them what the customer support experience has been like, because you don't want to be talking to the guy that just sells the products and has never lived that life, or has never actually, in my case, you wouldn't want to buy hash washing equipment from, like I said, one of these Wall Street guys that have never made hash in their life before, because the things that they're going to tell you are just things that are mimicked on the spec sheet or the user manual. And there's a lot more complexity than that when it comes to purchasing equipment. I would say the last thing in closing would be, think about where you want to be a year or two from now, especially when you're purchasing extraction equipment, because you don't want to buy twice, right? Like with us now, we have a 30-gallon mini Osprey and we have a 65-gallon big Osprey. And a lot of people will purchase this mini in the beginning stages because they're wanting to save, $18,000 to $20,000 in budget by going small. But then immediately 6 months later, when the market starts to pick up, they're looking at purchasing another machine to keep up with that throughput and capacity. And these things like the size of your extraction space, how big your ice maker is, how big your RO system is, these all come into play as the market starts to pick up, especially in new markets with solventless. And you want to be able to keep up with that instead of having to get rid of your ice machine, get rid of your hash washing machine, get rid of your RO, and scaling up.
Oops. Okay. Well, I got to turn on. Well, that was fantastic. It's been a pleasure to have you guys on this show. And one of my favorite things at Meta is that, you learn real quickly that people are willing to be transparent, people are willing to stand behind their product, people are willing to communicate out to the audience and aren't afraid of speaking are the ones that you want to do business with. So we recommend all three of their companies, and you guys have provided a lot of good, valuable information. All the contact information will be listed on the public. We have it out there. And so you guys don't need to give it. It'll be good. But thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank
It's
you.
been another episode of Meet Unshackled.
Thank you.